So you know what's going on in Palestine, you're starting to get a hang of what's going on in Congo, but you're also noticing that people are saying free Tigray, and you don't really know what Tigray is or what's going on there. Don't worry, I got you. Let's dive in. First and foremost, Tigray is not a country. It is the northern region of an African country, Ethiopia. You can see the continent of Africa here on this map. You can see the country of Ethiopia right there, the most populous country on the Horn of Africa, and Tigray is the northernmost region. For those who don't know, Ethiopia is one of the oldest contiguous countries in the world, and it is only one of two African countries that was never colonized, meaning the cultures, languages, and traditions of Ethiopia aren't directly filtered through the lens of colonial rule and occupation. So what does it mean when people say free Tigray? Are they talking about Palestine? Are these movements connected? While Tigray is facing its own completely distinct conflict, liberation movements around the world often share a common thread, in that the group that is being persecuted is typically seeking self-determination and sovereignty. Basically, the freedom to determine their own destiny, instead of having their destiny imposed upon them. For those who don't know, Tigray has played a super vital role in the story of Ethiopia. Ancient kingdoms that developed advanced agriculture, iron tools, trade networks, all originated in this region. And it not only impacted Ethiopia as we know it today, but the Horn of Africa and Africa as a continent as well. A super game-changing territory. So what does it mean when people say free Tigray? There's a conflict going on there, but what is it? So basically, after the Ethiopian Civil War in 1991, Ethiopia became a dominant party state under the rule of the Ethiopian People's Revolutionary Democratic Front, the EPRDF. This was a coalition of four ethnically based parties. For decades, the main dominant party of those mentioned above was the Tigray People's Liberation Front, the TPLF. However, everything changed in 2018 with the rise of a new prime minister. And in November 2020, tensions reached their height, and the TPLF and the Ethiopian government began extreme fighting that has resulted in a horrific humanitarian crisis, endless bombings, sexual violence, and a blockade of essential services and aid. Apparently, the spark was during the COVID-19 pandemic. The TPLF decided to hold regional elections, basically in defiance of the federal government's postponement because of COVID. This regional act of self-determination essentially led to a ground invasion that has resulted in endless fighting, violence, killings, infrastructure destruction, endless human rights abuses. And so when people say free Tigray, what they mean is to free the innocent people who've been caught in the crossfire of these two warring forces. Now, since 2020, things have only gotten worse. And because banking services, communications, electricity, and fuel are constantly cut off, ceasefires are ignored, essential aid is blocked, and there's the destruction of critical infrastructure, the situation for everyday people is dire. Despite this, there are some aid organizations that are doing incredible work and that have managed to still provide help despite blockades, and despite setbacks. These organizations are the International Rescue Committee, the IRC, Save the Children, and the International Committee of the Red Cross, the ICRC. I would highly recommend that you read up on what these organizations have been able to do to help everyday people, that you donate if you have the financial means, and that you make videos like this one educating people on what is happening. We've had a lot of governments and countries who essentially have said, oh, this is really bad, but not much has been done to help. So actions have been taken by the UN, the US, the EU, the UK, and the African Commission on Human and People's Rights. But I typically am disillusioned by these governmental and non-governmental bodies. I used to work for the UN, and while I think they do so much incredible work, a lot of it is just talking and research and proposals and not direct action. And so what we need is activists, content creators, to be making a lot of noise about this particular issue so that money can be raised for the aid organizations that are actually on the ground helping people. Now, if you want to learn more about this issue, there are actually some really fascinating books that are written about it. You can see that list here. And if you're looking for actions that you can take like right now in this moment, here's an action list for you. So first, you can contribute financially to these humanitarian aid organizations. You can start your own social media campaign by posting using hashtag free Tigray. You can educate people on what is happening, let them know about the dire situation for everyday Tigrayans. You can do educational outreach not only by sharing about what's going on, but also by educating yourself, reading articles, listening to podcasts, listening to audiobooks, reading those books that I mentioned. And you can support Tigrayan authors and authors who are writing actively about this subject. And you can share this action list widely and make your own. Here are some of the sources that I consulted when I was writing this. And I hope that you found this helpful. If you're interested, you can go subscribe to this. This is my daily newsletter. It's only delivered to your inbox in a weekly roundup once a week, but I also post daily things like this directly onto the newsletter platform, so that if you're more of a daily person like me, you can go access and read daily. But if you just want like one email per week, then you're only going to get that one email with the list of everything that's been published that week, and then you can read what's most interesting to you. You can go to my bio to learn more and subscribe. It's completely free. And if there's other topics that you would like me to write about, let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much. And just a reminder that all money raised from this channel goes directly to humanitarian aid organizations. So please share this video far and wide, because the more people watch it and the more people comment, the more money we make to give to aid organizations that are on the ground helping people.